Hi there, welcome to the Medical Writing Story series, where we dive into the fascinating journeys of those shaping the world of medical writing. Today we have Nirlep Chhiber with us. She is a freelance medical writer who's carved a niche in oncology and urology. Nirlep, it's great to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. And I'd like to start hearing about your early fascination with medicine and how it led you to getting a PhD in the field.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and share my stories with all the students who are aspiring to be a medical writer. I hope my story helps them in some way or the other. So, I developed a fascination for medical writing because my mom, she had multiple health issues since I was a child, and we used to make like several visits to hospital and very frequently, and that's how I got into I was maybe 10 or 11 years old at that time. So I was really intrigued by doctors and like what they did that my mom felt fine and all of those things. So it was just being in close contact with doctors that I developed a fascination for medicine, and I wanted to be a doctor. But life took its course. I could not be a doctor, but there was another way that I could enter this field. And eventually I did my PhD, and now I'm a medical writer. So it wasn't as a healthcare practitioner, but as a medical writer that I'm impacting the field now. So yeah, that's my early touch with medicine.
That's awesome to hear how you start, like, since the beginning. You had this fascination for medicine and how you took your path and now became a medical writer. Do you remember how, like, what your perception of the medical writing field was like on the beginning, like before you became a medical writer?
To be honest, it wasn't until I was in my PhD that I knew that something like medical writing existed. I hadn't heard of anything like this. I remember that it was maybe first or second year of my PhD that I signed up for LinkedIn, and I was trying to look for people, for alumni of my institution. And there was this person who came up, and she had written in her bio as a medical writer at so and so. And then I was like, okay, what's this field? I mean, medical and writing. So that's how I came to first know about medical writing, and I did some research, and then I found out that this is something that I want to do. So yeah, that was my first contact. But after that, I tried after I finished my PhD, I tried in different agencies, and then they used to take some tests, but because I had no experience, nothing, so I was not able to get in at that point. But later on I prepared myself, and yeah, I was able to get into Medcom's agency. And had I known about this field before I did my PhD, maybe I would have jumped after MSc into this field. So yeah, it was lack of knowledge.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely a rising field, and not a lot of people
Yeah.
knowledge of it like early on when they decide what they're gonna study. So yeah, it's always interesting to hear about their perceptions and how they became to know the
Yeah.
field. You said, like, after you finished your PhD, you tried to get a job at an agency, and then you had to prepare yourself for it, maybe with other jobs or like experience. How was this preparation for you?
So before I joined the Medcoms agency, I had changed like four jobs within 2 years. It was all trial and error. I was trying to see where I fit in. So two of those were in clinical biochemistry labs. Then one job was as a lecturer, and one was in a forensic lab. But none of those jobs were like, I was not happy as to what I was doing there. Then I came back to the same agency, and I because this time I had taken the test before, so I knew what they were expecting. So this time I prepared myself in a way. And also my experiences in my previous jobs, they helped, because it's companies, they tend to pick candidates who have some experience at least, rather than a fresh person. So yeah, those trials and errors helped me somehow, and I was able to clear the test. And then I took my first job in this field.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. And how was that first job like? What was your role exactly? Like, what were your projects that you worked on?
Yeah, so it was actually, I was a part of a literature surveillance team. It's not a very, very common kind of a say genre in medical writing. It's a very, very specific kind of work that I did. So I was working for a very big pharma client and a global pharma client, and I was responsible for, curating all the literature that was being published, that was relevant to their products. So, for example, they had a pharma product, that was treating bone cancer. So I was responsible for gathering all the data that was coming in on a daily basis for their product as well as their competitive product. And then I used to summarize those results and give it back to the client on a daily basis. So it was very research intensive, and I had to read a lot of papers on a daily basis. And then some part of it involved like summarizing as well. So if there was a guideline that came up that was like very important, or there was a consensus statement that came up, it was a very high impact article. So I had to summarize those guidelines on the same day and send it back to the clients so they could distribute it to their global teams, because it was a very high impact article. So that's how they designed their further strategies and research. So that was not many people know about this kind of work. It's actually called medical curation and medical writing. So yeah, that was my first exposure to medical communications, and I gained some exposure to medical writing there as well. And I was always fascinated with cancer research, and that was there in that job that I was able to learn about different types of cancer therapeutic areas. So yeah, it gave me a lot of exposure over there.
Yeah, that's I'm glad you brought that up. And I bet that your PhD helped a lot with the research part of this
Yeah.
new role that you got into, because there was a lot of that too in during your academia period, right?
Yes.
Um, and you said you were interested in cancer research. Did you have that knowledge before, or how was that transition for you? Because your specialization was in urology, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So my PhD was somewhere um, between urology, biochemistry, and molecular biology. There was nothing like cancer involved in that, but secretly I was interested in cancer research. But then, yeah, because it's like the main framework is the same. You have to read a paper, you have to get to know the therapeutic area, you have to understand the disease and understand the treatment. And so it's like the basic framework is same, but then again the disease changes, the therapeutic area changes. It wasn't very difficult given my biochemistry background. Yeah, so it wasn't a very difficult transition, but yeah, I was happy that I was now working in oncology.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to achieve that. Did you on that role? Did you have any mentors or anyone that you could rely on to keep developing?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's having a great mentor, or a team leader, or somebody who you can go to with your any kind of questions, and you're not being judged. So that is a very, very, that's a blessing. So yeah, I got to work with my managers who were very cooperative, non-judgmental, and yeah, they kind of held my hand in the beginning. And yeah, it's a blessing to have great leaders. So yeah, I owe my success to them a lot. Yeah, it's great to have mentors, and if you don't have one, you have to find one. But it's necessary.
100%. I totally agree with that. Yeah, so from this transition into academia to getting into medical writing, from what I hear, some of the things that helped you was understanding, okay, so what is it that I need to get this role, and work back like to achieve that,
Yeah.
uh, and rely on people that can help you and help you keep develop. So these are some of the takeaways that people can take if they are in a similar situation that you were. And then after this role, what was your career like?
Worked in this role for more than I think 3.5 years, and then I had to, move to Canada. And also by this time, I had, gotten a nice understanding of the field as well as how the corporate world works. And I had this desire to, my ideal lifestyle looked like where I had more freedom. I worked for myself or worked on my own terms. So that's when I got introduced to freelancing. As in, I started searching about it as to how I can get my ideal lifestyle. What are the ways? So, and then I think I was 2 years, maybe 2.5 years ago, um, that I thought that I want to go freelance. But then again, I didn't know how to do it. Then I
Mhm.
moved to Canada. I left my job in India. I moved to Canada. I tried my like bit, but I could not find any success in freelancing. Then I took up a full time job again here in a medcoms agency, where I learned different types of deliverables. Again, I found a great mentor there as well. She told me, like, she taught me a lot of things that are helping me now. And I worked on some really amazing projects. I got to refine my writing skills, and I got to know ins and outs of Canadian medcoms market. So yeah, and then life happened again, and in November I was made redundant because of lack of projects. And that's when I knew that now is the time that I can go freelance. So yeah, it's been quite a journey all along.
And it's awesome how, like, as you go, you keep learning about yourself and what is it like, what the ideal position is it for you, and then you keep working towards it. And now you have the freelance situation that you wanted to, because you're ready for it. Right now, on a freelance setting, like, what are the main differences? What are the challenges? What is it like to be a freelance medical writer?
So I reflected when I was like laid off. I reflected on how do I, carve this path, because again, I don't have any knowledge of freelancing. So I again did some research, and I came across another mentor. That's why I said, if you don't have a mentor, you need to find one. So I found a coach who specializes in training medical writers, uh, or people who are not still in medical writing field, to make that leap from full time to freelancing. So I joined that coaching program, and it's helped me a great deal. And it gave me that confidence, and again, step by step process as to what I need to follow to successfully launch my business. I am right now, I'm almost done with that coaching program, and almost ready to launch anytime now. So yeah, again, my biggest takeaway would be that you need to have somebody to guide you. You need to have somebody who has already walked the path that you want to walk on. So yeah, and now freelancing is it's intimidating. Like, it's not, when you have security of a job, you know that you are going to get that check at the end of the month. But that here you have to find your clients, you have to do it everything on your own. So it's different, it's difficult, it's uncertain, it's challenging, but it's also rewarding because you are working towards that ideal lifestyle that you want.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. When you know where you want to be and what your ideal lifestyle is, and you're working towards that, everything else becomes easier, and the challenges are just small things that have to get through to be where you want to be. So I wanna hear more about like the mentorship part, because that's very important. For people who know that they need a mentor, what would you recommend them to do to find these people that can support them?
Yeah, I mean, when you go on LinkedIn, there is a sea of coaches and mentors, But I think you should look for somebody who has been in your place. If there is somebody, if you are, say, a nurse and you want to be a medical writer, you should look for somebody who was a nurse before. That's how who can hone your skills as a nurse to become a medical writer. Look for somebody who has been in your shoes, who they can actually guide you through that process. And also don't ever fall for those traps where they say you make this much dollars in this much weeks, join us, this and that. No, just research properly where you want to invest your money in, and then look for mentors. And also, if you don't want to spend money, I think another way is to look for those people who have made the transition and maybe reach out through LinkedIn messages. Just ask for some informational interviews. Just try to approach them politely, humbly, and then try to get as much as information you can get from them. It'll be really really helpful if you are not able to find a mentor. Maybe they can guide you to some mentors or coaches that are helping other people.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, thank you for sharing it. I wanted to hear also, like from previous roles and right now, what are some of the tools maybe or platforms that you use to keep your work organized, or like just for the workflow in general?
As a medical writer, I think the tools are like, even in my big like previous organization, they were similar. So you need to have a database like PubMed where you can find your publications, your research articles. Then you need to have MS Office. You need to be good at MS Word, MS Excel, MS PowerPoint, and then citation tools like EndNote. You need to know those. Like, these are the basic tools, and then maybe PDF sorter, organizer, or something to share your files on, like Google Drive, OneDrive. And then you need a laptop, and that's pretty much about it. And your confidence and your research and writing skills, that can get you started. But you can add on as much as you want. You can add Grammarly to it, you can add AI tools to it. But yeah, that's the basic thing that you need to get started on.
Awesome. Yeah, that I agree with that. So you mentioned AI. Do you have do you have a take on that? Do you use AI on your work? What are your thoughts on AI in medical writing?
I don't think there is any threat to medical writers from AI. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I also see some people, maybe senselessly using AI to write things. That's not correct, because you can easily judge, you can easily know where that article or whatever that piece of writing has come from. But I do use AI for generating ideas. So AI is, in my opinion, just like Google, right? It's just processing information and giving to you in an organized way. While you have to go on Google, you have to organize things yourself. When it comes to AI, it's organizing it for you. But use it as a tool, but don't make it a writer. That's my take on it. Use it to generate ideas where you feel stuck. But again, if you want to search for some research, it's not up to date. Never go on AI to find your research articles, because it's outdated. Go to PubMed or other databases. But yeah, for generating some ideas, it's a great thing.
Yeah, that's a great take on it. It's great to organize the ideas into as part of the process of a medical writer's project. And you mentioned that research is an important skill for medical writers in general. Are there other things you would recommend aspiring medical writers or beginner medical writers to focus on to develop themselves?
Yes, I think the biggest, so you can have research skills, you can have your writing skills in place, but I think the biggest, most important skill that a medical writer needs is time management. When you are pressed for time and you have so many projects to do at a time, like none of your research or writing skills would help you if you don't know how to manage your time. So you need to set a schedule for yourself. You need to set time blocks, and there are clients deadlines, but you need to set deadlines for yourself as well. If you are coming from a science background, you would already have research skills and you would already have some writing skills as well. But time management and making your own deadlines and organizing your work, it is something that you have to learn along the way. And these are some of the things that will make your life easier as a medical writer.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good point. Reflecting on your experiences, are there any other advices or anything else you wanted to share with people getting into medical writing now?
I think people know much more about medical writing the like now than it was earlier. It's quite a known field now. So if you're somebody who is wanting to make this transition, I think it's a great time now. And you don't have to feel overwhelmed, because yeah, it is overwhelming. I always believe that you just need to take that first step, which is the most difficult one. Once you take that first step, the others steps will follow, and you can learn along the way. You can take all your courses, you can learn from YouTube, you can learn from other mentors along the way. But that first step, don't delay it. Take it now. And secondly, if there are people who are in academia right now who are listening to this, I think if you are really interested in where you are happy with that, that's fine. But if you have a goal in mind that okay, after so and so time I'll maybe shift to industry, I'll go to medical writing, I think you are delaying your progress. um, just do it now, because no matter how much time you spend in academia, that won't hold any value when you come to medcoms. You need to develop your portfolio now, you need to work on it now, you need to start working on your portfolio now. So yeah, that's my greatest tip. I tell it to everyone who approaches me, that you need to take that step now if you want to do it, because then it will be just your years that you have lost in academia, and it won't hold any value in medcoms.
That's very interesting, and that's a practical advice. I love it. So thank you for sharing it. And that wraps up another awesome episode of the Medical Writing Stories. Thank you so much, Nirlep, for joining us today. I really appreciate everything you shared. Thank you for everyone who watched. I hope you found some gems like I did on Nirlep's story. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you. Bye bye.